Okay, cool. Boruto chapter 41. This is just fighting, just like the previous chapter, and a lot of people basically said that the previous chapter was really bad because there wasn't really much to talk about, but I don't think it's really fair because at the end of the day, it's fighting, and with fighting, all you can basically analyze is the fighting, so it's not fair to actually say that. Though because of that, I didn't, review the last chapter because again, I do analyze stuff, and with fighting, it's pretty much straightforward, so there was really nothing to cover, so therefore I'm not going to milk it and just upload something just for the sake of uploading. Now we have chapter 41, and I'm going to be talking about a few things of bullet points that I made. Okay, so we start the manga with them basically telling us about how the karma seal works. So we learned something new. Apparently what you cannot do with the karma seal is actually absorb attacks or absorb anything that is basically made in nature. Say for example, if you were standing on a puddle of water, right, you cannot absorb the puddle of water because it was not created using chakra. So as long as it's not created using chakra, there is no chance in hell that you're going to be able to absorb it. Now that leads me to question something, right? So say for example, if an otsutsuki uses chakra to create a planet, right, or a dimension, does that mean that you can absorb anything or everything within the dimension because it was used, created using chakra, right? So basically Mitsuki and Kawaki basically explain that if someone was to use, I don't know, something like a water jutsu, the water would be created out of nowhere or thin air using chakra, so therefore you can absorb the chakra since the water, since it was made out of that. That is basically the weakness of the karma, and the fact that they cannot absorb the mist that Boro has created basically means that it is natural, right? So Mitsuki's snake apparently absorbed some of this mist. For some reason the snake never fell ill, right? And I think it's because obviously, like he said, that the snake created antibodies. So Sarada uses her stage 3 Sharingan in order to analyze it, so she can zoom in like it's a microscope to figure out exactly what it is. And it turns out that Boro's mist is actually a virus. Like, this nigga's literally spreading STDs, right, using scientific ninja tools. So that brings me to this point. This is the point I'm trying to make here, right? Kara are not just using scientific ninja tools, right? But the scientific in ninja tools is the fact that they are going deep into this. They are not just creating scientific weapons, they are creating bio weapons. That is good enough to wipe out an entire village without any effort at all. All they need to do is to bring one person within Konoha, right, and give them some kind of biological disease or illness like this biomist actually does, and they can basically make sure that it spreads as time progresses and kill everyone within Konoha within, I don't know, a day, right? So that's really dangerous, right? Because this is not just jutsu, it's bioweapons. Like Delta's rays were able to stop cells from regenerating, like completely kill cells and stop them from regenerating. And I think that actually gives us a hint as to how they're gonna beat Boro if they ever managed to do that, right? So Sarada apparently gets appointed as leader for the new T7 because obviously there are loads of them, there are 4 of them, and at least one person should be the leader, and Sarada gets appointed. And the reason why is because she's very calm and collected, right? Even though she's the woman in the team, she technically should be using emotions to attack, but it turns out that Boruto is the one that's on his period, constantly attacks using his emotions. So Sarada is logically the leader because, like I said, she's calm and collected, and she has been trained by Sasuke, the most analytical person that there is, right? Naruto's strength, and Sasuke would be, analysis and technique. And so, yeah, that basically makes sense. She manages to trick Boro into thinking that she's actually paralyzed. However, before she even came to attack Boro in the first place, Mitsuki used his snake to create antibodies that she took as well because the snake bit her and probably gave it to her, right? So it's kind of a cool idea because snakes are usually deploying venom into your skin whenever they bite you. However, this one is actually deploying antibodies that he collected from Boro's blood, right? Which makes sense. So yeah, that's basically what happens. She tricks Boro into thinking that she's paralyzed, but she had already weaved the signs for jutsu and burns this nigga's face. So Boro, at this moment, I want you guys to know that he's making so many mistakes, and I think he's doing it on purpose because he's underestimating them, or at least he has a trump card, which we find out later in the chapter. So after, you know, Sarada basically attacks Boro and gets a cheap shot on him, what happens is that Boruto and Kawaki, you know, launch their attacks. Boruto creates a Rasengan, right? And then Kawaki uses the Karma Seal to amplify that, and it basically explodes in the same way that the Rasengan exploded when he was, you know, clashing against Momoshiki. And we see that Boro has basically been blown to pieces, or at least, you know, the top half of him has been blown to pieces. They think they win, but then we get the classic Dragon Ball, you know, android can regenerate scene where, you know, Cell regenerates and basically Boro regenerates in the same way. It turns out that his body, right, Kawaki's body and Delta's body are basically made of the same scientific ninja tool that basically I think Amado was the one who, you know, did that to them. If that is the case, I think I know how they are going to beat Boro, right? And here's how I think they're going to beat Boro, right? The only way to defeat someone who can regenerate from any injury is to stop the cells from regenerating. Remember, Delta's, you know, death rays or whatever it is, were able to do that to Kawaki's arm, and that's why Kawaki was not able to regenerate. If that is the case, they are going to have to find a way to make sure that Boro's cells do not regenerate. We already know that Mitsuki's snake is capable of injecting venom, right? And there are snakes out there which have venom that can basically stop your body from regenerating. So I think that it's going to be up to Mitsuki to kind of, you know, find a way, since he has Boro's blood samples, to find a way to make sure, you know, to create a venom. If he can create antibodies, why can't he create venom using his blood to, you know, stop his cells from regenerating? I feel like that's the only way they're going to defeat Boro, by doing that. So Mitsuki's kind of the key in order to beat this guy. And yeah, there's one mistake I actually spotted in this manga, and it doesn't make sense, right? So after Boro, basically his head gets blown off, right? Boruto basically says that the antibodies worked. Boro then gets up, regenerates his entire head, and then he said, if I'm not mistaken, I actually heard that Boruto said that they used antibodies in order to beat his mist. First of all, how can you hear something when your entire torso has been blown off? Like, you have no ears unless this nigga has fucking recording devices installed in his ass or something. There is no way that he would have been able to hear that. So that whole portion of the chapter doesn't make sense, right? Unless the chapter I read wasn't translated well. But that's basically all I got from the chapter, and I really gave you guys my thoughts. Okay, so Alvin basically says Boruto as a teenager will be an otsutsuki hunter. That is his dark fate. I don't think so, because why would Boruto need to hunt down otsutsukis unless there's a major reason for it? Unless they basically killed Naruto after he was sealed off. Maybe that's the case. That's the only, you know, reason why I think he would be set off into a dark path. But if you really think about it, right, his family would not allow him to do that, and his teacher would not allow him to do that, because his teacher has been through that journey, and who better than him to tell Boruto not to go on that journey of power, you know, and revenge. That would not really do him any good. So I feel like that's not going to be the case at all. So next one says, plot twist, imagine Sasuke and Boruto goes to the past, and Sasuke tells Jiraiya about his demise, and Jiraiya ended up being Kashin Koji, because when you think about it, he was not noticed when stepping foot in the hidden leaf. Well, I think we don't really have enough information about Kashin Koji. We only have an idea who he is based on his techniques and based on what he said about being fated to the Leaf Village. That's basically all the information we have about Kashin Koji, right? And the only thing that really connects him to Jiraiya, right, is the Rasengan and, you know, the toad summoning and all that stuff. But if you think about it, right, the toad summoning obviously came from Jiraiya, but the Rasengan actually came from Minato. He was the one who invented the technique, and Kakashi can even do it, right? So yeah, it doesn't necessarily connect him to Jiraiya. People only say that because obviously he has, you know, white, if not grey hair, and his facial structure doesn't even look like Jiraiya's facial structure. So I don't even know. It could be someone who is just a fan, or someone who just likes the techniques or has adapted it into his, you know, killing style. That's basically what it is. But I don't know. Time travel is, you know, something that would basically make you undefeatable. Think about it. If you can control time, no one can fight you because you can go back in time and kill them before the fight even started in the first place, or be prepared, right? So yeah, I don't think that's the case at all. Now, Agent basically says using reincarnation and bring back Madara to clap everyone. I don't think Madara is going to be able to do much, because at his strongest, without any enhancements from Kabuto, he was using the perfect Susanoo, right? And Hashirama clapped his cheeks, right? So therefore, him having the Rinnegan would still be limited because he has a limited amount of chakra, right? Edo Tensei Madara, though, if he was reincarnated, right? If he was, I don't know, brought back to life, then yeah, he would be weak still, because obviously Jigen is the strongest person here, and Madara would not have the tail beasts within them. So this is just Madara with the Rinnegan and nothing else. No Senjutsu, no Jubi, none of that stuff. He wouldn't have any chance at all against Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke together stand no chance against Jigen. So he really wouldn't really be that useful at all. He'd just be like a little side dish standing there waiting for orders or something like that. Next one is, do you think we will see Boruto train anytime soon to master his plot dojutsu and karma seal? I don't think so. I don't think we will, because one thing that the entire series in terms of manga and anime has been lacking is training. We've never seen Boruto train for anything except from the Rasengan, right? And even in the manga, he definitely has some, lightning attacks, and he has some, water style attacks that we've never seen him train for. He randomly just pulled it out of his ass, right? So technically, I think he has trained for it, and I hope they adapt it in the anime. But in the anime itself, they also skip all the training and stuff, so I don't even think they're gonna do that. Like, he knows the gentle fist, I think, a little bit, and we never even saw him train for that. So I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna, put training in there. I feel like it would be good though if they did put training in there, because I'd rather see an episode of him training to actually achieve a technique than, see an episode of Chocho talking about, the flavor of fucking potato chips. I don't want to see that shit. So yeah, I want to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now click on the left, right, for a video on Momoshiki, and click on the right for a video on how possibly the karma seal works. With that being said, those have been my thoughts and my chapter analysis, and I have nothing more to say. Bye.